Recognize Ms. Ramirez for 5 minutes on the amendment.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Ranking Member. A few weeks ago, right from this dais, I talked about the hypocrisy of these Republican policies. We're talking about gutting services that working people rely on while writing blank checks for ultra-wealthy bosses. Well, here we are again. We're back from recess, and Republicans are looking to cut $1.5 trillion in funding for our communities. But today, we're considering also a $69 billion infusion into an agency that is violating our rights, undermining due process, and blaming administrative errors for their criminal behavior. And this gift to Trump and Noem comes without oversight, which Republicans on this committee have proven either unwilling or incapable of. Case in point, my request to conduct an oversight visit in El Salvador was publicly denied in the press, despite evidence that Noem spent $6 million of taxpayer dollars to disappear immigrants to a foreign prison without due process. The committee is considering this massive infusion of capital into the department without holding a single hearing with Secretary Noem, a request that I have made and others several times to this body, and I'm making again today. Secretary Noem has to come before this body and answer our questions about the department's unconstitutional, illegal, and inhumane activities. Mr. Chair, I ask unanimous consent to include in the record a letter requesting Noem come before the committee to testify. In case, I can keep going, I can do it at the end if you like.
We can do it now. So ordered.
Thank you. In case there's any question about what those unconstitutional, illegal, inhumane activities are, let's revisit some of them for the record. Republicans are seeking to fund the wasteful spending of this administration after Trump and Noem already wasted $300 million in 6 weeks to militarize the border. The administration says they're committed to legal immigration while they are cruelly canceling the appointments of thousands of immigrants who legally sought asylum in our country. Trump and Noem have even denied children, 2-year-old children, their basic right to face immigration proceedings with a lawyer, including children going through cancer treatment. Since January, Trump and Noem have used ICE to terrorize our communities, profiling Latinos and arresting U.S. citizens, like the man who was detained in Chicago after buying a slice of pizza, despite of the fact the guy was carrying his ID and his Social Security card, and the Puerto Rican veteran in New Jersey. Folks, these are the same people who launched a $200 million anti-immigrant ad propaganda campaign with your constituent taxpayer dollars. And then, last month, in violation of court orders, Secretary Noem acted on the fascist dreams of her leader and sent immigrants to offshore detention centers. Noem wasted millions to fly immigrants without criminal records to Guantanamo. And then she decided to enter into a $6 million deal with El Salvador government to disappear and mistakenly deport a legal resident, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, in addition, a hairdresser, soccer players, 8 women to a men's prison, and a long list of immigrants with no criminal records. The list includes a young man from Chicago whose family had no idea how to reach him after recognizing him in an authoritarian propaganda video of Noem touring the prison. All while Trump, Noem, and Rubio weaponize immigration enforcement against activists and dissenting voices like legal permanent resident Mahmoud Khalil, international student Rumisa Ostork, and labor rights organizer Alfredo Lelo Juarez. In 3 months, Trump and Noem have abused the power of the Department of Homeland Security to pursue a campaign of persecution, of mass incarceration, and deportation. Day after day, Noem disregards the authority of Congress, the laws of the land, the constitutional rights of residents, the courts, due process, and every check and balance that protects us from fascist authoritarians. There is no way in hell that I'm giving this administration $1 more to violate our rights and criminalize our communities. And further, Noem must resign from her position as Secretary of Homeland Security. Mr. Chair, I ask unanimous consent to include in the record a letter demanding Noem's resignation as the Secretary of Homeland Security.
So ordered, and I believe the gentlelady's time has expired.
It is now. Thank you. With that, I yield back.
Okay, she yields. Just to let everybody know, I think Secretary Noem's coming in May the 14th. But anyway, who's next? Ms. Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you so